The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Opening with that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. It is four of us. We have a replacement. Decker is missing yet again.
And we didn't even lose?
We didn't lose yet. And Matthew was joining us. So
Yeah.
hi, Matthew. Welcome along again.
Hi, thank you for giving me my Sunday name on a bank holiday Monday, Christopher. That's very nice.
It's roll
It feels
over,
like a
isn't it?
Sunday.
It's like a very long Sunday.
Like a Sunday.
Yeah.
It is a very long Sunday. But yes, it is myself, Chris, joined by Bestie, Mark, and Matty is here. And boys, we are going to be talking all things Newcastle United, but mainly Newcastle result against Brighton. Mark, we managed to escape with a point.
We drew, you know. Get in.
It's like a victory down there, isn't it? Because we are shite normally when we go down there.
We don't have very much luck, do we?
Well, the only game we've ever won down there was because of Diarme's heel that time.
That was quite fortunate, in fairness, wasn't
meant
it?
I had they're going to rename the Puskas Award because of that.
And deservedly so as well.
More like the Kitty Cat Award.
Remember who else scored that day
Jose Perez.
for
And,
Brighton?
the guy who took the penalties, Glenn Murray.
Probably Glenn Murray. then,
Murray.
yeah.
Nice, yeah.
If you could stand up long enough to take a penalty, that was like always on the deck. Him,
He got a lot of penalties, didn't he?
Aye.
He was a bit of a diver, wasn't
he
he?
was, yeah.
Aye.
Mine had Isak's got 14 out of he's taken 15 penalties for since being here. That's quite a lot that in 3 seasons. Given that the first season he was shared with Callum Wilson.
And it doesn't seem as if we've been awarded that many penalties.
We almost got a lot of them.
We've
got 3.
We've got 3 on the weekend.
But he scored one against Ipswich as well, didn't he?
It was also the
Yeah, yeah.
anniversary on Sunday of him missing one away at Burnley last season. So I was thinking the gods were
remember
going
that,
to
yeah.
recreate that. But we'll get to that.
He was scored like immediately afterwards. And didn't we?
He scored immediately.
Kind of
afterwards,
recycled it. and
Yeah,
then-
yeah. Anyway.
You say that we didn't get a lot of penalties, but we seem to go quite a few weeks going, he scuffed that into the back of the net with that penalty.
Yeah,
those-
very
those
quick.
Because there was a
weeks
lot
in
of
row,
dodgy
yeah.
penalties.
That's towards the start of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, his last 2 have been absolute
That was
rakers.
that one yesterday was Shola-esque.
Yeah,
Just in behind the post, lovely.
bit of power. And he stopped that little stutter as well. He's just bang, get it in there.
Don't be stuttering.
Yeah,
Indeed.
don't be stuttering.
Just
But
get
yeah,
it in there.
what were your thoughts overall, Bestie, about the game?
I thought we dominated it pretty much. To be honest with you, we were easily the better side. They looked dangerous on the break. Minter caused loads of bother, as we knew he would. He kind of got about Dan Burn quite early on. And then, yeah, I thought that you look at the stats are one thing. Stats don't tell you the whole story of the game. But all the time, at least, I thought yesterday we were the right ball away from putting 2 or 3 past them in the first half. There was one
Or
in the second half was where Barnes cut it back, and it's where you'd normally expect Willick to be when Willick first signed.
Yeah.
He was hanging on a penalty spot. He was arriving at that time, and it just didn't quite time it right. On match of the day, they said Barnes played the wrong ball. I thought, no, he played the perfect ball. We haven't. I think Isak was ahead of the ball, maybe because it came to the left, maybe Jacob Murphy as well. Might be wrong on that. But it was Willick on the edge 18 yard box. If he'd been 2 or 3 yards further forward, he gets a shot away.
It was very much like last week where we were just flashing a load of balls across the box, getting that
Yeah,
last
it was
ball
similar
missing
enough.
and stuff like
I
that.
think the difference was that this time around, Murphy was doing the exact same things, but he was struggling to find anybody whatsoever in
He's
the
hitting the
box.
first man a lot. wasn't
First man every single
yeah.
time.
But a few times he got down the byline. Yeah, he cut it back and all that. Was a few. I thought we played pretty well. To be honest with you, I thought we defended pretty well as well. I mean, like I say, there's an argument that Burn could have been booked for that challenge on Minter in the first half.
Strange one that way.
My opinion of that is that it's very similar to the Ben Johnson one. I think I messaged you. Well, I might put it in the group actually and said that. When he got booked for Ipswich last week, or the weekend before last, where he hasn't actually touched Burn, but he's had to kind of jump to get out of the way almost.
Well, we got a throw in off it, didn't we?
Yeah.
The free kick
There
wasn't
was,
given
there
at
was a
all.
lot of kind of, you could see they were, Brighton were appealing for everything
Mm.
as well. Should have had a player sent off. They got
Definitely.
subbed immediately after. I mean,
It's kind of telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
the fact that VAR were checking, is that a red card? And then obviously you can't do it for yellow cards, can you? So the second yellow card thing, you got away with it a bit there, but massively so. But yeah, I thought I saw a lot of on Blue Sky afterwards, a lot of like Nick Pope shit Willock shit. I saw that in our group as well. We'll don't talk about that a bit later on. Oh, maybe immediately.
We'll talk about it later on because I'm sure there'll be a question about it.
But there's loads of stuff. If we'd done what we should have done, we would have been. I think we did fine.
If me auntie had
I
tits.
think if me auntie had tits, it would.
Should be a bike.
I still think we should do. I still think if we win our home games, we'll get there. And Liverpool didn't turn up against Chelsea yesterday, but getting points at
That was awful.
getting the point yesterday. Somewhere we've always struggled. I think it's a fine result. I look at the league table. We're still. I mean, Forest play Palace tonight. At the minute, we're 3 points ahead of fifth.
Aye. Well, just to build on that, when it got to the end of that match and the flash up the Premier League table, it's like, okay, barring Forest beating Palace 9-0, we're finishing in the top 5 this match day week.
Yeah.
And I think week to week, as long as that's your mission, it's fine. Just to
They've
build up.
done pretty well capitalising on the results of recent.
Exactly. So we've had some really good match weeks, and then you're going to get the odd bad one. I wasn't surprised Liverpool didn't show up yesterday, but just to build on what Bestie was saying, I have this weird sort of negative Tourette's.
No,
but like it's
not.
like, but like if you
Matty, you are messaging me in the week ahead of the game.
yeah, right. It's my coping mechanism. It's my coping mechanism. But like I'll be like sat there just like saying, "Oh shit, this is shit. You're shit. What we do?" When really I probably don't actually mean it. It's just how I'm feeling in the moment, and I don't get on my phone and start just blaring shite on the internet at people.
Yeah. So it's like a catharsis almost.
Yeah. So, but then it got to half time, and okay, right, second half, much better side, second half especially.
I thought we were a lot better. second half.
100%.
But then, like at full time, I'm obviously relieved to a degree. I see the Premier League table, and I think, well, actually, that could be a really valuable point, given I thought we were going to get beat. But I saw Eddie Howe then say, I thought we were the better team. So now that made me reflect on it a little bit more. And then when I reflected on it, I thought, you know what? We actually, what you've just said, weren't that bad. It was more a build-up of frustration, knowing that we don't normally win here. They're not playing well enough to be 1-0 up. And if we just went up a couple of games that we think we could beat Brighton at the Amex for the first time in the Premier League. And we didn't.
We almost did.
Yeah, we almost did. But it was like frustration in the first half, especially. I think amalgamated by some people was, he's shit, you're shit, this is shit. And it's like, I know where you're coming from, but it's not true, is it? It's not true. It was just that last bit. I mean, look at Joe. I was buzzing to see Joe Willock 2 or 3 times go, I'm putting the ball past you and I'm going to get in behind. Like, proper knock it past him. Like we used Joe Willock of old. Great to see that. And then it all melted away when he got in the box. I mean, that time outside of the foot over the bar, and you're just thinking you're just trying to. It was just,
and the 2 times where he just kept on running.
Yeah.
Off the field.
Or the second half when he took a great.
He's just channeling he's in a maxi.
Like I put it in the group, didn't I, Bessie? Because Joe Willock was quite a talking point. Because we did a pre-match show this week as well, and Willock's name came up, obviously because we're talking about who's replacing Joe Linton in the last handful of games. And I said it's very similar to the likes of Joe Willock, that I've always been a huge fan of him. And yes, he needs minutes under his belt and he needs that run of games. But so far this season, from what I've seen from him, it just isn't there. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the options a club will probably be looking at. Club will get some money for him and get somebody better than him. And I'm
we can't sell centre midfielders, mind.
We can't
off the table.
We can't. And do you know what is after the match reaction video that we did, there was somebody commented in saying he's unbelievably harsh about Joe Willock when there was other players that didn't play well as well during that game. And they mentioned the likes of Bruno and Tonali, which I didn't think they had a bad of a game. To be fair,
I would disagree, Chris. I thought
Tonali did.
I thought Tonali was great. Like,
that was another positive.
I thought Bruno was though. I thought Bruno. I know highlight reels can obviously mask a lot of things, but there's a highlight reel doing the rounds with Bruno v Brighton, and almost every single one of his passes is pinpoint. He's putting challenges in which he normally doesn't do and win them. And I think maybe it's probably just been masked by the result a little bit.
There were a couple of those where he's come deep and won. He's put a good challenge. Yeah, that is true.
There was a couple he missed as well, though. Again, Bruno, he can walk on water for all that.
And he can't hit a shot with any power, mate.
Yeah, well, you can walk on water for me, so I'm not going to have a go at him too much. But I've always said that, given that our strongest points the midfield, Joe Linton not being there, having to make this decision between Miley and Willock, but then you need Bruno and Tonali to show up to be able to really put your stamp on a game. And I
don't understand why Miley's in the conversation, because Eddie Howe has categorically said for the last 2 weeks that Miley will not play on the left side of midfield for him.
No, fair.
It's not his position.
But Eddie Howe also said that Willock is a like-for-like replacement of Joe Linton.
He's not.
He is a mad comment that was.
As in playing in that inside left position.
It's called Joe.
And he's called Joe.
Well,
brown skinned.
Yeah,
but that's about.
well, that's 10 minutes. We'll mark on that.
Yeah. But it's just to finish my original point, though. Like I thought, like in the absence of Joe Linton, you need them to show up. And personally, I don't think they showed up anywhere near their best. And it's a bit of a positive that we've actually ended up getting a result when they don't show up, because normally if they don't, like, I mean, Anfield's Anfield, but like we just get battered. And there was a few times Tonali, you can see what he's trying. Great, like there was a couple of balls that was like, I can see what you're trying there, just gets cut out. But that time in the second half where he thought he had more time than I really thought that was going to end up in a Brighton goal. But
he totally bought the dummy for the goal as well. When Minter kind of sells a shot and
the first shuffle,
he turns his back on it, and then that gives him the space to put it in. And I wouldn't blame him entirely for the goal. It's one of those ones that's taking the touch off Dan Burn's shoulder. That's taken beyond Pope, like. But yeah, he does. It wasn't Tonali's best game.
Yeah. But I guess that's what I'm saying. It feeds the frustration of some fans. I mean, but again, given Tonali's having this amazing season, he maybe won't be highlighted as much as a Joe Willock, because his mistakes were in the final third where we could have possibly scored goals. And like I said, I was very happy to see him taking on players for a change, because I think he can be quite passive in games this season.
Yeah.
But this season he was trying. This game he was trying, and I think that's why Eddie Howe's he might see that in training and it ends in a goal, or it ends in a keeper save or something. Whereas this ended in running out of play, hitting the first man. It was frustrating, but he was there. Yeah. I've seen us play other games where we don't even get them openings, and that's when you're going, we're playing really bad here.
He is taking shots at John Ruddy, though.
Which makes it more impressive. Good point, Mark.
Yeah. England's John Ruddy.
England's John Ruddy. Yeah.
He's in a squad or two at least.
No, but I'm with you, Matty. I did think that the midfield, even Bruno chucking him in there, and like you say, Chris, a highlight read can tell you one story, but I don't think it was his greatest game, and I think that's probably where we did lack a lot, and it probably isolated Isak a lot, which we've talked about on a few occasions, as well as when the midfield aren't playing particularly well, we're not getting that link-up play with him. He's not getting any chances. We then do send everything down the wings even more than we do so as our normal game plan. So, yeah, but it just needed something to click. It almost felt like it was just going to be one of those games where you're constantly knocking on the door, having the possession, getting forward, and you're not getting that final bit of break. Obviously, the referee tried always to
stick with the referee, Mark.
Them breaks.
Stick with the referee, because what a stinker he's had for both sets of fans.
It's weird because
my dad watched it at mine, and I said it's one of the first times I've ever heard both sets of fans sing "You're not fit, the referee."
Yeah. But was the same? Was it last week?
Was similar.
Yeah, it was the same. Like both sets of fans were saying that referee was awful.
Yeah. There was an irony in that, in the whole both of them singing it, though, because on some of the times, I think out at the away end, especially, it came after the first two overturned penalties, which we have to give a little bit of credit to the VR, because they weren't penalties.
I think the first one came after the Dan Burn challenge. That's when their fans started coming in hard. Yeah, about that one. Which, do you know what it is? If it was that St. Jude's Park, the other way around, we're exactly the same. But the referee had an indifferent day.
It was a strange one. It was a strange one. I mean, I think for me, the highlighting one is the
let's go through
back
them.
not getting sent off.
Let's go through them. So we've already discussed the Dan Burn one. The next one the second yellow card, or was it the penalty?
No, isn't that the first penalty?
No, the penalties were both all
three were in the second half, were they?
They were all towards the end of the game. Where this was, I'm sure, pre
early doors in the second half was the second yellow.
Yeah,
card.
It was 53rd
minute. Before Gordon came on, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure.
The first penalty was Gordon.
Yeah, might have been.
I'm sure all three were in the second half in regards to the penalties.
They were.
So yeah, the first one was the second yellow, which, like we've already addressed, that VR were looking at a possible red card, so they can't step in and say, well, you've let him off for that one, should have been a second yellow. Then he gets immediately taken off, which just telling in itself, going right, well.
He probably, the fact that they were checking for a possible red, Parsons already probably sat there going, messed up here, haven't I? Because they're checking if this could be a straight red, so it's definitely going to be a yellow, and I've missed it. Like it was. I
don't think it was a red card. Like
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But it was definitely a second yellow card. He gets a little touch of the ball with his left foot, his right foot straight into Tonali's calf. And Lee Hendry on commentary I was losing my mind, because he was going, you don't want to see people getting second yellow cards for them. Are you joking?
Lee Hendry,
that's because he never career.
Yeah, so we got booked for time wasting in the first half when he picked the ball up, and we got a free kick.
We tried to take a quick free kick. He's tried to take a quick one. He stretched out and grabbed the ball.
And he went up for Lamptey on 54 minutes, and the penalty was 5 minutes later, 59. The first one.
So the first penalty that was awarded was the Anthony Gordon 1. Is that
Edge of the
correct?
box.
Edge of the box. Yeah.
Lamptey on
It
goal,
looked
yeah.
like a penalty all day.
I can see why Paul's giving it.
Yeah, I can see why the referees awarded that one. He's probably just banged on it and went, right, penalty. Let's see if
it's not until you
it's in
see
the
that
box.
slow-mo replay on VR that you think, oh, actually, it is.
Why is it
outside the
taking
box.
so long? Because you see it
I've
like
never really got that.
and you go, well, I can see he's outside the box.
Yeah.
What's happening?
But you can tell first time.
Like, aye.
I mean, fair enough if it was questionable, unless referees had to ask him the rules.
Because he's in the book. They're just looking in a book.
Well, even on
What are the rules?
What
Even
on
his left
comms,
foot-
they were
his left
saying,
foot's in
well,
the box.
well, that's what they were saying on comms, wasn't
Yeah.
it? His foot's in
It
the
needs to be
box.
planted in the
So,
box, doesn't
aye.
it?
It was something like if it was that close that like if his other foot was on the line
Yeah.
of the box.
Well, it's like a
it's
ball
penalty.
going
It's
play,
so
isn't it?
close.
Me dad was around mine watching it, and I was like, I don't know the rules, Dad. Like, so whatever
Yeah.
I give, I'm just going to have to agree with you.
It straight away, like as soon as you saw the replay, you went,
gonna be
"That's
hard to
that's
give."
You could
outside
see
the
contact
box,
was
isn't
outside
it?"
the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foot planting thing, I didn't really know. I'm not too
Well,
confident about that.
I was looking, thinking, well, had they then gave it for the sec, because it almost felt that then as he goes into the box, he collides with his other leg. Another thing, and that was the foul rather than
because
the
it can be
the first one.
if the infringement continues
Carries
in the
on,
box.
yeah.
But it was right. It was very close to being a penalty. Obviously, Gordon, as soon as he comes on, like just causing bother.
Just
for them,
went
like.
at him, didn't he?
But,
And this
it
is
was
what
right.
we've always argued, saying if it's clear and obvious, which that one it is, that the
That's
referee's
it,
got
that's
it
clear
wrong,
and obvious,
that's
yeah.
when VAR comes in. And likewise with the second one as well.
Yeah,
Because what's Joe Willock doing there?
I don't blame that way. It's a one way. It's very similar to the one that Chelsea got
His
yesterday.
foot's about that far away.
It is, but I think I think he's anticipating the defender not pulling out.
100%. Yeah.
It's really similar to the one Chelsea got yesterday against Liverpool, where in that one there was a touch and it's apparently fair enough. I thought it was at first glance because it was.
In fairness, from some angles, it looks like it's a Stonewall
and then
penalty.
because I'm looking at it, I think, no, that I'm talking again. That foot could be a trip, like, you know. And then they show the value. Where I got that from? Show the angle.
They show you the value of
The
his
value
foul.
of this.
The value of diving.
They show the angle from like a different, and it's like his foot's like a foot
Yeah,
away
it was the shot from behind goal, wasn't it? Where you could see.
It's not a pen, but I mean, Willock.
It's
There's nothing. If he doesn't, I mean, he gets booked, doesn't he? But if he's taking the touch, he's getting nothing else. It's a goal kick. And
it's
nothing
a
else.
very bad touch that he did.
What I did notice though is
I think he's anticipating.
he doesn't appeal for it. So he goes down and he goes on his knees and he
I think
almost
the dive is the appeal.
gets back up,
Yeah.
Yeah,
almost as if he's like saying,
Embarrassed.
well,
I'll tell you what happened.
either that, he is.
the other players
he is waiting
appealed
for
more
the-
than him.
He
Yeah,
is waiting for the
It came
contact
from.
and it doesn't come.
It came from Bruno and Isak just not reading what the other one was going to do completely. Like, because Bruno's got the ball, goes to play through to Isak, but Isak's already kind of checked his run.
Yeah.
So he stopped when Bruno's played the ball through, and that's kind of. I was like, you know, he do the frustrated. Oh yeah, man. And then I see Willock burst and tell, oh, it's a penalty, get in, that'll do me. And then obviously it wasn't. But again, referee got it right, yellow cards right as well.
Well done, VAR.
So, I mean, it's a weird one where we were singing, you know, fit a referee, I'm assuming, about those two incidents.
It definitely
And
sang
yet
him after that.
the referee gave the decision in our favour, and it was only afterwards. And they're both right. Can I go back to something, Chris?
Yes, you can.
I want to talk about this. Minta's goal in the celebration
You've just read my mind.
was
I
really
thought
weird
we would come on to that at
because
some
he
point.
started off almost like
Same as St.
it
James's
reminded us a
Park.
bit of Lucky at Sunderland that time, where he's kind of pointing the crowd and stuff and saying other. And then I think he started getting dogs abuse. So then he's gone like, right, I'm here, sort of kissing the badge. And one of their lads had to pull
Danny
him away. in the
Welbeck,
end.
it is.
That's exactly
Welbeck.
exactly what I thought happened. Exactly.
Aye.
So he did the same thing at St James's Park. Apologise, and I remember me going, "Oh, that's nice of him, even though he didn't kick a ball for us." Like,
Yeah.
if I'm you, I'm doing a knee slide, volley the
Yeah,
corner
yeah.
flag like Matt Ritchie. Doesn't matter. But like, yeah, he probably was like, "I'm really sorry, really sorry," and then all of a sudden was like, "Dude, he did that," and then he started kissing the badge. I'm
Aye.
staying here because he went to do it, and I reckon a bunch of pissed up
he
lads
went
have
to
just
do
went,
it.
"Fuck off, you!"
That's what it is. It's one person in the crowd that
Yeah.
he's pinpointed, just heard, and he went, nah.
That's it.
I'm changing my
Do
mind.
you know what? I'm there for that because
Absolutely.
I,
Yeah.
that's, if I'm in this position, I'm probably not apologising to start with, but if the apology gets spat on and thrown in my face, I'm going to properly give it.
Yeah,
guns.
but you say that, but he was pointing to the
That's
ground like
after.
that, and then going like that.
No, he went. You know, he was going. No, he was doing that and going. I think he was saying, "I'm not yours anymore. I'm Brighton."
Yeah,
Kiss the
that's-
badge.
that's
But
what was
originally
bad.
it was like, "Really sorry, appreciate. I used to be a Newcastle player," and then I reckon he's just had a face full of horrible vitriol.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't confirm this. I wasn't in the away end.
No,
But-
because all of the imagery that you see of it, you don't see any of that.
No,
because it's shot from here, though, isn't it?
There's stuff that's in the crowd and facing it and stuff like that.
I think that's what's happened.
I don't know.
It was weird because I saw, I forget what review of the game I was reading today, a BBC or the Guardian or something, and it was Minter didn't celebrate against his old club, and he's literally kissing the badge in the photo that's captioned.
But that was after he'd got wrong off one of their players, though.
Well, he got pushed away
and stuff like that.
Pushed away, yeah.
It was straight away.
Because originally they were like letting him do. That's what I'm saying. They were originally letting him do the whole. Sorry.
There was one of their players straight away was dragging him away. So, like,
we'd have to watch
to
it back.
But
I'm not going to get the iPad up for a celebration. There's a
bit. He's going like that. And he's going like that, which is you could construe that as almost I shouldn't be here kind of thing. And then he's waving his own fans off. I
shouldn't be here. That stinks here. It's full of seagulls. It's
almost like, well, I shouldn't be here because you had to
I don't even like Fat Boy Slim
to sell us. And it's like
the beach is just rocks.
It's just the most confusing celebration you've ever seen in your life.
Well, I think me and you've got the same thing.
I think
I'm still going to buy it.
I mentioned it on the post-match show as well. Like, it's
Mark, if you told it was raining outside, I would check.
Watch it back. There's like
we're gonna. There's going to be a video on it.
It's weird.
Let everybody that's watching let us know your opinions and thoughts on the midday celebration.
It's because that celebration could piss off both sets of fans.
What's your opinions on players celebrating against the old clubs? Because I want to see that.
I don't like it.
I
think it's disrespectful. Depending.
What's disrespectful?
Depending
celebrate against your club or not do.
Celebrate against them. If you've played for a club, you've had a great relationship with the team and stuff like that, then you get the respect from like the fans that are watching it and stuff like that. Then if you go up and do that and almost rubbing it back in the face, like when Perez, when he came and did the thing at the Gallowgate end.
Yeah, but like
that was sorry, Mark. Because when Perez did that, I thought, fair play to you, mate. Yeah. He'd already brought this celebration in because everyone hated him when he was scoring for Newcastle.
He did that for like 2 Newcastle.
That's because he was.
He didn't aggravate for a move to Leicester. He gets aggravated. He goes for a move to Leicester, getting booed all of a sudden. And like I said, I know our opinions on Perez differ, but like for me, as much as you had some crap games, scored some very important goals that kept us in the Premier League. So when he comes back and everyone's just boo boo, if you score. I'm just going to do the celebration that I used to do.
Happen. He didn't get booed.
I would do the.
He got booed in bits.
So he went to the Gallowgate and he initially, because it was right in front of us,
probably because it was
the Gallowgate and he didn't celebrate. He didn't celebrate until Maddison told him to.
Well,
and then he did it.
For me, I'm sat in the leaders, and I've definitely heard boos. And I remember going, fair play, because we got battered that game like 3-0 and down to 9 minutes, 1 point or 10 minutes. But I remember just thinking, fair play to your kid. Like you made this celebration up at our club because of your own fans. Yeah. So crack on. To answer Chris's question, I'm neither here or there. Like people celebrating at their old clubs, like I'm not bothered. However, when like someone like a Kevin Nolan scores the winner for West Ham and just gives it that, you're like, I like you. I love you, Kevin Nolan. Like, thank you very much for everything you did. But if someone who we barely really know, like, runs off, does a knee slide. I mean, Dan Burn scored against Brighton in the 2 seasons ago when we won for like 4-1 at home, and he give it one of them. And I looked up and there was a few Brighton fans like, kicking off. And
Chris Wood celebrate?
Yeah. He's hat trick. I'm sure he did. Yeah. Why not? I'll just go full, like, run the pitch.
That was class.
Yeah, but that's hilarious.
But he wasn't respected by the fans at that point, was he? That's what I'm saying.
I think it's great, mate. The whole you mustn't celebrate again. You know that video of Rio Ferdinand not walking on the Real Madrid badge?
Yeah, Tozza.
It's just that, like, just grow up and enjoy scoring of goals.
Like, I'll flip it around to you, Bestie. As a fan of the club that player now plays for, you scored a goal and he doesn't celebrate. Does that annoy you?
Nah. Not really. The Harvey Bonds didn't really celebrate against Leicester the other week.
Didn't at all.
I've been whacking arrows all over the shop.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's why Leicester fans will respect him for that because of he's played for the club. He's got a relationship
as well.
Exactly.
So it goes a little bit beyond just playing for. He's a Leicester. He was born in Burnley, as I discovered today because I was looking at his dad's Wikipedia.
As you do.
And he grew up in Leicestershire, so he's probably grown up a Leicester fan. So I mean, that goes beyond just like Minter, who signed for Newcastle, didn't play.
I don't get that at all because
Yeah.
He never played for us.
Yeah.
At the same,
He was
I
on
mean,
with books, fair enough.
To Mackie's point with Kevin Nolan was captain, got up in 2010.
Scored a hat-trick against the Mackhams.
Scored those goals and scored down at the Stadium Light as well in the same season. So I understand. I think that's fair enough as well. If he'd gone to Sunderland and scored against it would be interesting to see what would have happened there. Or if Andy Cole had scored for Sunderland when he was playing.
That's best. That was David Kelly didn't score against Newcastle, but he came on for Sunderland against Newcastle and got applauded, didn't he?
Yeah.
There you go.
But what players that have played for both?
Newcastle and Sunderland.
Yeah.
Bobby Moncur
scored against
Paul
the
Bray
opposition.
as well.
Chopra
Scored against them.
Chopper went in on goal that one game and totally fluffed it.
Yeah, Chopper went to Sunderland after that. Did Chopper go to Sunderland after that?
Yeah. He scored for us.
And he missed that sitter.
Lee Clark.
For Sunderland.
Clark didn't score against. There's not many. And we've been in different divisions for that long now that it's a generation past anyway. Like Pop Robson might have done it or something like that.
I was going to say, I don't think there would have been anybody in our lifetime.
Someone like, I don't think Bracewell scored against. No, he didn't because Liam O'Brien and Scott Sellers scored against him in Division 2 as it was.
Yeah, that's good. There can't be many. Like,
no, there's probably more.
Venison, did he?
Nah.
Anyway, we digressed of that one.
It'd be interesting who scored in derbies for and Newcastle and Sunderland. I would say Brian Pop Robson maybe because he had a good career with Sunderland as well, but he was with us.
It'd be definitely single digits.
It'll be a long time ago as well. It's not one I can think of who's still operating.
There's somebody that
and that's why I think there's probably a backstory in the fact that he didn't want to leave. The club didn't want to sell him, but had to, and that's where he's almost not celebrated. He definitely didn't do it at home. He initially, well, God knows what it meant, but yeah, it's. I think it's just something.
I want to hear him. I want him to ask that question.
Well, he went and got interviewed afterwards, didn't he? And he said all he talked about was, "Well, I'm a Brighton player now. Like I had to leave that club."
You remembered halfway through the celebration.
Yeah.
Imagine John. I know John Burge.
But it was the same story when he scored for
at
our place.
I know John Burge was a goalkeeper. Imagine him against all his old clubs. Like saving a penalty in Ghana.
John Burridge would 100% celebrate because he's a shithouse.
He's a big shithouse. I like John Burridge for that. Like, guys, great.
Shall we talk about the third and final penalty decision?
I would talk about
Well, I wouldn't technically say that was the third and final penalty decision.
You know about the Brighton one before that.
There is a Brighton one.
So it's an only one
because 100% that's a penalty. Like,
What? Yeah. Really? He's off at mark, isn't he?
Whoa.
He is off at mark.
I
love you to death.
How many times has Anthony Gordon got a penalty for doing that exact same thing?
I thought it was a foul on Tonali.
Fabian Schär has got a penalty for doing that exact same thing.
And Wolves were complaining their arse off about it, and everyone said, "Yeah, it's not a penalty." That.
Yeah. I thought it was just like one of those ones where it's like one looks like the foul. If they fouled each other, they sort of both went down. Like
for me, it was a Harry Kane thing where he's the striker, and I forget who it was. So forgive us.
It was O'Reilly.
He's nowhere near the ball. Goes out his way away from the ball to get in Tonali's way, and then Tonali kind of similar. But the thing with Gordon, I know you're probably thinking about Calvin Phillips against West Ham. Calvin Phillips has kicked through Gordon, and the ball's there. Whereas with this one, the ball's there, and their lads out there, and Gordon's between Phillips and the ball, where their lads done a Harry Kane and made sure that any part of him's in between. It's like fucking Dalsim off. What do you call it?
Street Fighter. Nice reference, by the way.
A bit niche, maybe.
No, it's not. It's a great game.
Selective memories you lost. The ball's on the other side.
But that's the thing. I would say that I thought that penalty was a little bit soft that we got in that West Ham game, but then this is another level above it. It's
softer again.
Similar ballpark, but top of the table. Like it's just it would be. I'd have been fuming if that got given.
Well, as soon as I saw the replay, I went,
First replay, I was worried. First replay, I was worried.
That tennis.
2 or 3 replays, I thought that surely in that VAR wagon or whatever it is.
Yeah, I 100% thought it was going to be getting given.
And then when I saw a couple of replays, common sense surely, and then when I saw him whistle them, I was like, okay, thank God.
It didn't take long either.
That one didn't.
It, which is weird.
Which is mental because the one we're about to talk about took way longer than it should have.
Into Stonewall.
It's a Stonewall penalty. It's 2 arms.
But I think with just going back that one, I think it's a we haven't.
Well done. We've concluded.
Because it's a one where
we all agreed.
VAR.
Everyone who matters agrees.
If the on-field decision is given penalty, I don't think VAR overturns that.
I do. Yeah, I think the speed with which it was kind of dismissed indicates to me that they just look at it and says, "Nah, no way." And
that's what I'm saying. They're just going with the on-field decision.
The basic said Bestie's right.
Yeah, just got to call off Bestie.
The lads are going to talk about this tomorrow night. Mark's going to make a tip myself again. Well, Bestie's bang on again.
So did you watch the ref watch today as well?
No, I didn't.
So on ref watch, the referee and the two ex-players also said could have been a penalty.
Couldn't give a shit.
Could have been or should have been.
Is that Dermot Gallagher with his pretend accent?
Is it? It is, isn't it?
Nah, I'm getting a bin, Dermot. If you're an Irishman, talk like an Irishman.
For me, it's one easily where
There's
if it's given on the pitch. What?
Does a kneecap thing mean nothing to Dermot Gallagher?
The kneecap thing?
I can't wait till next week. Ref watch. Dermot Gallagher's wearing a fucking balaclava. Well,
try your lads down on microphone. Get the Brits out.
First of all, Palestine, free Palestine.
Let's move on to
Wow.
the next one.
It might be a bit
What?
over.
I actually mean that.
How this all went
We've just gone
from a VAR decision.
right. Let's talk about the next one, Bestie. So the next one is the challenge. Oh, who? I can't
No,
remember
handball.
who it was.
Handball.
Oh, this is a handball. Sorry,
Handball
This
for
is
the
the
free
handball.
kick.
I'm talking about the free
Two
kick.
handballs?
That's it, yeah.
I've got pop me beer.
So it's the free kick that's awarded.
Probably all the Slava you've been talking.
Where who is it that gets taken down on the edge of the box?
Harvey Barnes, I think.
Harvey Barnes,
yes,
great
it is.
little.
He was
touch
excellent again yesterday, man.
Touch spin.
I've seen Brighton fans since full time saying that no way in ever a free kick.
I agree.
Right, well,
Do you?
yeah.
What?
Shut up.
Do you want to sit in that
Mark,
seat?
have you heard the Slava that this lad's talking?
I think he goes. It's similar to Willock. So he goes in for the challenge and Barnes. I think.
I saw it super smart, really good touch.
No, it is.
Knows he's coming. He did what Willock tried to do, but did successfully.
That's probably fair to say. Yeah.
There's like a shin pad on shin pad. He's went sort of looking for it, but it's like it's a foul, and he's really brought that contact because of a really good touch and spin. Like, and he's known he's coming. Plays
What
the
you
ball
mean,
off,
like
gets
the
it.
defender? Like the Brighton player in our box went and all
He didn't touch the ball.
Yeah, Barnes.
Stop
does-
trying to reverse
Barnes-
the conversation, man.
Barnes does shift the ball across the edge of the box, and I think you're right. I think you're in saying that I probably agree to say
There's
that
contact there, like.
there's contact. I mean, Barnes could easily get away from the contact, but he doesn't need to. I suppose that's not his. He's not obliged to. So yeah, I could see an argument. Yeah, maybe it is.
So
You slag off Willock for diving, but then it's okay because Barnes gets a free kick. So bloody fickle.
In fairness, he's slagged off Willock for everything.
We get the free
Still
kick.
surprises.
We do get the free kick.
Surprised he's not how out after the weekend. In fairness, again.
And
I know. We'll come back. We'll come back with.
Fuck yous. Fuck all yous. Just let yous go.
Remember when Rafa used to get manager of the month and he would make sure all the coaching staff were amongst the picture and that?
Yeah.
Like, given that Jason Howe's up for manager of the month again, like, Tyndall's got to get at least half of that. Like,
He won 2 games, didn't he?
Chainsawed.
sorry.
All right.
You
Do
might
you
give
just
him
want to talk about the
You
Do you still want to stop
He
fighting?
can have custody on the weekend.
co-parent award? Do you want to talk about the final one?
I go on then.
Okay, so it's
Stonewall penalty, isn't it?
It's just
it is. Yeah.
But I was very frustrated how long because I'm on tender hooks anyway. I'm effing and jeffing, like just doing my neighbours' heads in because they're probably hearing all sorts through the wires and that. But then, when I saw it being given, I always think they were a bit funny one because he's hit it quite hard. Share it's going in like
Yeah.
it's actually a great free kick, fair play. But then when I saw it was like the lad who's on the left hand side of the wall facing Share, his arms well out,
miles out.
hits him, and then.
It's a deliberate move towards
another lad. It was like sort of. It would have been harsh if it was just his, but two pretty questionable handballs.
Tell you what I do want to say about this. What a save!
After the Callum Wilson header,
brilliant.
It's an amazing. Hursler the keeper.
Yeah,
No, he's the manager.
Verbruggen.
Verbruggen, yeah.
It's because he started off going because obviously the free kick's gone that way, so his weight's gone. It's a brilliant.
Wilson puts it where he needs to put it.
The poor bloke, like, it's a fantastic save that he's dead unlucky, but.
I mean,
It's
a
a-
couple of
it's an
good
absolute-
saves.
Well, that
It's
would have
a
been
penalty, like.
how controversial would that have been if Wilson puts that in the back of the net, but the whistle had already gone. So
Yeah.
imagine there'd have been we'd have been talking about another murder then. Like
Aye.
I think he was onside. I think.
I thought Wilson
Well, they were
pretty sure he
checking.
was,
They were
yeah.
checking for offside, and I was like,
That's what-
I just-
Why?
Why are you checking for
That was
offside?
really weird.
You already gave a penalty before offside even comes into play.
Who's interfering with play there?
It's
If the
ridiculous,
ball's gone
like-
directly from
Like-
foot to arm,
It almost felt
He's
like
not in the way of anybody. And like honestly,
Nah.
my mind was blown when they were taking so long. I was like,
yeah,
why?
that was absurd.
it's almost like they were trying to find
But
a reason
why?
not to give it because they already gave two.
Yeah,
It was,
Sorry, hadn't gave two.
it was mental. It was mental, but it was a great penalty. Mark.
Yeah, struck away, loads of power, wraps around into. It's almost that one where he sends the keeper the wrong way and then bends it where he's been doing, where he does that little stutter thing. But
Even if the keeper goes the right way, he's not saving
Yeah.
that. Like
right behind the post.
it was for me. It was very strict because obviously on Sky, as they always do, they show that graphic, and there was that one red ball that you mentioned before.
Burnley.
He's very, very even on both sides.
He's all over, isn't he?
The goal, whereas obviously you normally have the favour one. Yeah. But I don't know whether it was playing on his mind of obviously, because he took the penalty last week and he put it to the keeper's, his right, didn't he?
Left,
the keeper's left. Very low, hard. And that's the way that they go. So has the keeper thought, well, that's where he's put it last week, I'm going to go that way? Or is it he's given the eyes, his body shape, and think, that's where I'm putting it? But yeah, brilliant.
It's a great penalty.
Really, really good penalty.
Hit one, it was fantastic. It was
much cleaner than his aforementioned.
What's your thoughts on Isak recently, Maddie? Because the questions have been asked to Eddie Howe about is he carrying an injury? And I think everybody watching the Newcastle game can tell that Isak's performances aren't up there as what they were. Probably the cup game, around about that patch of spells and that final. And I think everybody's in agreement that he's just probably not getting the service and finding the space that he once was.
I'd agree because I think, he's a massive focal point and reflection of how the side is playing. I think since the cup final, we've really, most of our wins have been digging them out, not massive. And then when we have really sort of smashed the team.
Scorelines would disagree with you. Like.
I know.
I'm thinking Leicester, Ipswich,
No, but come on. I mean, Leicester, we didn't get out of first game because we didn't need to.
They were appalling, mate.
The Man United game, 4-1, I wouldn't say flattered us, but, again, they weren't very good. Palace was the game where I sat there and I was worried about that game so much.
Yeah.
And we blew them off the park. He missed a couple of chances, granted, and he missed some against Ipswich as well.
Yeah.
But that chance he took, and it wasn't even a chance. It looked like him taking a penalty from 20 yards out. Like he ran onto it, and you're going, "This is a chance," and he whips it in the bottom corner. I think, on the weekend, he didn't get a touch in, I think, in their box in the first half. I think that sort of was indicative of how we were playing.
Deep, wasn't he,
coming deep to get that, and you go and get away. But I think it is sort of, it reflects how we're playing. We're really trying to dig results out at the moment. Again, I know we've scored a lot of goals, but I just think that I wouldn't say he's been amazing. I wouldn't say that he's been bad or there's a worry there. You've got to always play Alexander Isak. Let's face it.
And what didn't help against Brighton is how deep Tonali was as well. He was playing in the back four half the time looking for the ball.
Well, when they had the ball, we really sat, didn't we? It was like a 4-5-1. That's right, Matt. But like
we were actually 5 at the back for quite a bit at times.
Tonali came at the centre half a couple of times, didn't he? Mm-hmm. I know it was weird. Like near the end of the first half, Ben was going on those strange marauding runs and screaming on it for an underlap and run with Livramento. But it was just. I think it's just like I said. It just reflects how we're playing at the moment. But another day, he might have got to go. I don't think there's much there to be worried about. I don't think he always seems to be carrying an injury for me because I think he's one of those players where you watch his gait, his natural gait. Is he limping? He's limping, isn't he? Yeah. Oh God! But
I think it is. We're coming to the end of the season. It's been a long old season. It's not that he's injured. He's just his body's at that stage where it's. I mean, Howe said it himself that they've got to manage his minutes. That's where we've been seeing him going off on 70 minutes, 80 minutes, and Wilson coming on just because he just probably can't last that full 90 minutes because of not strains, but just weariness in the muscles and stuff like that, and that they don't want to push it because he could then injure it. And like we've sat here and said, a 70-80% fit Isak is going to start over a Wilson that's probably about the same because he's not getting those minutes. That's why we've talked about Asula starting, maybe coming as a substitute ahead of him. But it's just that lack of the lack of link up. And like we've said, when our midfield struggle, he gets isolated because he's not seeing as much of the ball. And we've seen it over the years with like Wilson. Wilson would go through those phases. Previously where he'd be out of games for a long, long time. And it just means that he is then having to drop deeper and deeper, like get involved.
There was a couple of times as well where he was getting a little frustrated with Bruno as well because he was making the runs on the outside, hoping for the ball to come around the defender, and the pass was going the other side. And you could see that he was getting annoyed with those sort of runs, and you're thinking, right, he just needs a chance. He never really got the chance. I can't remember having a chance, obviously, apart from the penalty. I can't remember him having a chance.
I can't remember having one.
In recent weeks, especially with being City, saying he's still getting chances.
Yeah.
He wasn't finishing some of them, but he was still getting opportunities.
Yeah, there wasn't a massive amount at all. It kind of goes back to what we said at the start about the cutbacks from Barnes and Murphy, that were kind of going across the box and getting headed away or going straight down the keeper's arms. Isak wasn't really kind of in the frame. Getting any of those. Tino hit the first man a couple of times. I mentioned on Match of the Day last night.
Lost the ball quite a bit, Tino,
it
in that
wasn't
game.
Tino's best game either last night, which you see all these, like we've said, Tonali, Tino, Willock we've mentioned as well. They come away from Brighton with a draw where we've historically been awful.
And like you said, also with an underlying thing of we actually didn't play that bad. Like,
did well.
You know what I mean? Team. And when you've got these players like there was a bit where Livramento, you're just begging for him to hit on his left foot because he's shown he can do this now, and he waited for it's a theme now. Waited for the defender to come and like clatter him, and the defender sort of pulled out, and it just went for a goal kick.
Yeah,
and he complained, but it was like, you've just went for the wrong strategy there, mate.
Yeah.
And again, maybe that's something that can maybe jig us up a little bit as a fan base that, like, we've went to Brighton, somewhere we don't really play very well, played average, not great, but probably the better team. However, left back didn't really show up. Your two star midfielders went at their best.
Yeah.
You know, your star striker didn't really touch the ball that much.
Feeding off scraps.
You're feeding off scraps. Yet you've came away with a point and still look probably the better side.
And VO stepped in 2 times.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where the reaction's coming from. A route of people of saying that's why the
frustration.
Because
I think people see results, don't they, rather than actually.
To be fair, I've not seen much of people saying the performance was crap behind. I've seen individual players.
Instagram comment section I was in the other day, but that's probably pretty not a great place either these days.
Yeah, no,
there's not many nice places these days, mate.
There's not
right here's really nice.
Who?
Like right in this room, really nice. Just to let you know.
Well, 3/4.
There's a bit of an atmosphere.
You're making it.
Not be Mark making an atmosphere.
So, Mark, was it a point gained or 2 dropped?
Yeah, it has to be based on how late the goal comes, and like I said before, it just felt like it was going to be one of those games where we huffed and puffed and didn't get anything out of it.
Almost nicked it.
Yeah. So
that Wilson shot when he hit it. And to be
fair,
my negative Tourette's when he was coming on, I shouted like he's not going to do anything. And actually, I thought this was probably his best sub appearance in a little while. When we've seen him recently, there's
2 up top.
Do you know what I was going to say? Do you not think that's because we were 2 up top?
Well, maybe. Yeah,
but
he looked like a dilute. He's very much these days looking like a diluted Callum Wilson. Love the guy to death. He's done so much important stuff for Newcastle, but. Yesterday, he won a few headers, held the ball up a little bit, and he ran out that strike, albeit it was deflected.
It was a little bit under hit the pass to him as well.
Yeah, and it was
being across his body.
Very good save again. Very good save by that keeper. Yeah,
it was a good block by a defender as well. The defender reads it well and does what he has to do.
But ironically, nearly makes it worse for the keeper.
Yeah, there was one that Tonali did that in the first half, was it? Not in the second half.
Yeah,
where he gets a block in.
That's
a really because he kind of comes a long way away. It's a bit like Joe Linton at Wembley.
Yeah, but it just felt like one of those games. The changes did help, and it was like because they were sitting deep, the midfield was stifled, hence not creating anything. So that change of formation allowed us to then get more into the game and actually be a bit more direct and get at them. And that's when we really did start to cause them issues. But as I say, the longer it went on, you just felt it's just not.
I tell you what was a good positive as well is the fact that
trip to Brighton.
Yeah, the fact that Gordon came on and made an impact as well. Yeah. So obviously he's only just started coming off the bench, and fair play, like Javi Barnes, brilliant these last 10 games or so. But direct running Anthony Gordon again, really putting the shits up the fullback just by running at him.
Hopefully that's him getting his fitness back as well, because that's what's been missing in these last couple of appearances.
It didn't take a free kick, but there was like a couple of set pieces where Trippier rolled it to him and he put a pretty decent ball in as well. But can we talk as well about that that free kick that they put in, that free header
towards the end? He
I thought that's goal all day.
Shocking miss that.
Yeah. To not test the keeper, but Nick Pope's not moving anywhere.
He thinks it's in.
It's a mile away as well. You can see he moves his head at the wrong time. When you see the highlight, the replays of
50 pence head type thing,
completely, he just totally misjudges it.
Great, like a cracking ball in. I mean, I was a bit frustrated that no one in our defensive lines went to attack it, but I think it was because it's that to use a cricket terminology, a corridor of uncertainty, where it was just the keeper doesn't want to come for it, but the defenders don't think they need to.
The ball curling inside the 6-yard box like that, but moving away from the goalkeeper a little bit. It's a hard one to deal with. Like, it is.
I think it would have been an absolute travesty if we had a left there with nothing mind.
It wouldn't be the first. I mean,
it would have been a normal trip to Brighton.
A normal game against Brighton this season because I wasn't at the cup match.
It would not been enjoyable.
The league
both
match,
home and
battered them.
Yeah,
and we got beat 1-0.
Yeah.
The cup match, I didn't see it all.
It almost feels like it's back to those Southampton days in the 90s.
So it's always something about the South Coast, isn't there? Yeah. Something about the South Coast. But Bournemouth as well, we never do well there.
Yeah. That's an Eddie Howe thing, that though.
Too far south.
That's what it is.
Last time we won there, was that under McLaren? 1-0, Perez. Sorry, I mentioned Perez again.
Where's this?
Was that last time we've won?
No, we beat them for the year.
But that was behind closed doors, though.
Yeah, that was COVID.
That was when Lazaro scored and Miggy scored.
Oh, no.
Miggy scored with his left foot, by the way.
COVID
Look it up.
Count,
happened.
does it? Doesn't count.
No, well. But Miggy scored with his left foot, though.
Let's talk about the remaining fixtures of the season, because the game which immediately followed ours on Sunday was the Liverpool v Chelsea game, which they may as well just awarded 3 points to Chelsea before kickoff.
Well, given that Trent Alexander-Arnold today said he's leaving Liverpool, I think the whole team.
I was shocked by that.
The whole team left Liverpool.
Yeah. Didn't see that one coming.
It was poor, wasn't it?
It was shocking.
Well, he made 7 changes or something, didn't he?
8, I think.
First goal I thought was really good, though. I'll give Chelsea some credit. That first goal, that move, Palmer's sort of involvement, and ends up Fernandez's feet. It was a really good goal. The rest after that, though, it was just bad. I know they made 6 changes, but like, come on, the champions were talking about it. Yeah, they were really bad. Yeah.
And do you know what?
Point deduction is the only fair. How many points would it? 40 points.
Give us 3 Carabao Cups.
Do you know what it's entitled to do? They wrap the league up. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
The integrity of the league. You can't just start dishing. Oh, we'll give Chelsea. I think it's revenge for the Carabao Cup. They're so upset that had their pants down at Wembley. They've gone, right, we're going to let Chelsea.
But it is Chelsea.
It's a logical explanation. That
it is. Sorry, tonight, Monday, as we are recording, it is Palace v Forest tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it hasn't kicked off yet.
It should be kicking off. Was it 8 o'clock kickoff?
Half an hour or so.
Yep. So that'll be kicking off, which is another big result. You're hoping that Palace picks something up there. We have Chelsea at the weekend on Sunday, I believe.
Sunday
midday.
Lunchtime this year, yeah.
Midday.
Which before yesterday, what day is it?
Monday. Yesterday.
So yesterday, I would have fancied with chances against them.
I still do. I still fancy them.
Yeah, but just
I think what we've seen so far this season,
the wrong time for us.
In these games against the big 6, we've done pretty all right this season.
Yeah,
I think I don't have any real kind of nerves about playing Chelsea at home. To be honest with you, we've thumped them in the League Cup. They beat down there. But Cole Palmer was like incredible that day, and he had a bit of
fun. He was yesterday.
He wasn't incredible. He played well. Yes, it was incredible.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the Nick Pope mistakes, though. They're winners. He hits it from distance, and Nick Pope gets beat at his nearish post. Yeah. It was nearish post where we equalised, and
he's nearish post.
Nearish, but it was from a distance. But it was the post that he had covered the most. Yeah. The post he had covered. The post Pope had covered the most. Say that with a mouthful of wine gums. That's not a saying. Just crap. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously very, very nervous for Sunday. Super. Did you not hear how eloquently I just spoke there? But Sunday, yeah, I'm super nervous just because of how big the game is. We could be playing anyone. We could play anyone, but Chelsea, we have got a good record against them in recent times at St James's Park.
All we need to do really is just the way I'm looking at it is finish above Villa and Forest.
I think if we beat Chelsea, if Forest don't win tonight and we beat Chelsea the weekend, I think that's pretty much it.
I've always said 7 points. 7 points. Them 4 games, 7 points.
That'll do it. Yeah.
It'll nigh on guarantee it, because even Villa, they could win the rest of their games.
Was that including yesterday?
That was included yesterday. Right. So 7 points, I think, would nigh on do it, because you'd need a crazy turn of results, and then it all hinges on that Chelsea.
So we still need
game.
2 wins and a draw then?
No, we need 2 wins now. So we need 6 points now. In my eyes,
I think we could do a job at Arsenal. To be honest with you, they got beaten
4th time this season.
We've beaten them 3 times this season already without conceding a goal.
Mm-hmm. It'll be great. Imagine 2 quadruple over Arsenal. That'd be mental.
The next week there isn't it? Chelsea and then Arsenal straight off the back of it.
Well, a lot. Everton are in pretty good form as well. They drew at the weekend there, but
last game of the season.
Yeah, we should have beaten them down there, but the Gordon penalty.
Abusing Pickford. Come on.
Well, that means he either does amazing or terribly.
Yeah. And he seems to be.
Last season he did amazing.
He seems to be dealing with that a little bit better these days. There's young Jordan, so I think he's
young Jordan.
Yes. I think he's that monkey is no longer on his back.
It's good. Do you know what it is? It's going to be nervy for you.
It's always nervy.
Yeah, that's
it's
why
going to be more
that's
nervy.
why he was all week to me. He's like, "Oh, I'm worried about Champions League." I'm like,
I was texting you out with like percentages and all sorts. Just give me some sort of like reassurance. You know what I mean?
I was now on the other way.
So did this freak next to me. Bestie was class. I think we're still going to be all right.
I'm like, I think I'll go the last game of the season. Goal difference.
Yeah. Vomit emojis. Cheers for that.
You said something and I went, now Joe Linton's injured as well.
Yeah. And we've got Brighton.
10% off that.
Yeah, it's definitely not keeping me up at night at all.
How confident are you, Bestie?
I think we'll do it.
I would 10.
Do you want a percentage?
Not 10%.
I'm 7.5, 75%.
All right, okay.
So 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I think, and you know what it is? I'd love to finish in the Champions League spots. If we don't, then we're in the Europa League and we'll win it.
Yeah, I just keep thinking, I mean, we've talked about this loads as well. We've talked about it on here, we've talked about it in the match previews. It's just the sort of what getting the Champions League would mean to us, and what would not mean to us, but what would mean for the club in terms of financials and any sort of murmurings about players leaving. I still think Europa League might pacify that. I totally agree. And it would be, I'd love to think that that's pretty much an impossibility now for us to finish outside the top 6.
I think
nigh on.
I don't think mathematically
it would be
It's not mathematically. I'm just saying nigh on.
It would be extremely.
I bet the bookies are giving good odds for us to finish outside.
I think we need to lose all 3 games.
Yeah, but and
the
then,
goal difference is in our favour as well at the minute. So
yeah, that's the big thing for me is our goal difference is healthy as things stand. So
given how often we've conceded 4 goals this season as well.
Yeah.
A few times that time.
If anyone's got any questions, send them our way and we'll go through for the last 10 minutes of the show.
I'll tell you what I think might be of note from the game at the weekend, and it's not it's something not of any consequence, but I thought it's worthy of mention. It's probably the last time we'll see the red and blue kit. Because we're not away at Arsenal, will we? And then the other 2 games at home, so that's that.
All right.
Bye.
It's been good though, at least we won it.
We did all right in it. I think the white kit as well.
What about the white kit? You haven't give that any kind of love?
Yes, I have.
You're just really fighting for a fight here, aren't you? What about the white kit?
When we're doing the watch along, you give it a lot of love in the watch along.
Well, we might wait at Arsenal, the white kit, and then next Monday.
We'll be in the home kit.
I don't think we will do either, but we might. But we'll not wear the red and blue, will we? Because it's red.
Let's go through
the
Arsenal
wear red.
We've got a question and a donation from Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Get in, Josh.
He says, what's the one thing the media say about Newcastle that annoys you? Mine is Kevin Keegan couldn't set up a defence, which simply isn't the case. In the 95-96 season, where he conceded 37 goals, only 2 more than the champions Man United.
Yeah, it's a bit of a kind of misconception, that isn't it? It's
because everybody just thinks about that Liverpool game.
Yeah, we'll concede that. We'll concede
the Nelson.
And that only Darren Peacock. Sorry, that they weren't good defenders. Like it did really well. We're a great side. It just had that little bit.
It was also permutate. That's not a word. Yeah, it is, but it's the wrong use right now. Yeah, I'm not drunk. It was the fact that during Keegan's time, and you see people reflecting on it, they always talk about the lack of defensive coaching sessions, bringing Lawrence in and doing 2 sessions and then getting kicked out. Well, not kicked out, but not used. And it's like, if only they might have been even better if they worked on the defensive side of things. So Josh is completely right. Statistically, actually, we were really good, but former players have said we didn't work on defensive shit.
Did you hear about the Mark? It was on which podcast was it? It was the Quickly Kevin. You know, the one that Josh Whittaker did. Mark Lawrence was on with him, and he basically said Kevin Keegan offered him a job after it might be one of the 4 threes, and he turned up, and Kevin Keegan's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" This is you've offered us a job as defensive coach. He's like, play head tennis with lads for a bit then. And then Keegan left. Dalglish came in, and Dalglish says, "Mark, what do you do?" And he said, "I'm out.
Head tennis.
I can't. Yeah, but I play football. The lads I turn and it's like a youth club basically." So he says, "Is there any point in keeping your guns now?" And that's when he started doing the TV stuff more. I don't like Mark Lawrence, and even less so since he's gone on telly. He's gone really weird. He's gone down a bit strange.
He's had a few sound bites that are a bit.
He turns up on some dodgy podcasts, But he's. I kind of always think, oh well, at least he was honest about that, because he could have just pulled in a few grand a week or a few hundred quid a week for doing that.
I don't think he was skinned.
What's your thing that you dislike, Mark? About the media's way of addressing Newcastle?
Other than Jose Perez.
I don't know. No, I didn't mind Perez from January onwards when he bothered to stop playing.
There's nothing that's jumping out to me. To be fair,
mine's
the,
like
the annoying thing at the minute is the continuation of the. Or Isak's going to be going to this club, that club.
Isak Arsenal's. Yeah, that's annoying. Isn't it?
Is that not dropped a little bit now, though?
I saw another one today where it was like, if you are Alexander Isak, what's your decision in the summer?
Oh, actually, I did see.
I mean, not the fact that he's still in contract at the club for another bloody 3 years.
There's talk of us going from Boomo. That's been happening quite a bit. We don't mind that, do we?
Rio Ferdinand, he's talking about him again.
Didn't he talk about Man United signing? He talked about Man United signing.
Yeah, Man United.
What an idiot!
He put their name in the mix. There was him. I can't remember who else he was alongside, but that was the question. If you're Isak, which club would you go to?
Yeah, what Man United? Stay at Newcastle.
No point in somebody go stay at Newcastle. Like, how are you, lads? Tossers.
I think mine's like still like it's probably the reason I don't listen to TalkSport too much is like when they get a Newcastle fan opinion within like 3 words, you're like, oh, they've got this idiot on.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to anyone's watching this who've rang into TalkSport. I'm not having a go at you.
I mean, every disrespect.
Like you will. Best you said it.
As much as listens to TalkSport.
Yeah.
Incalculable stupidity.
I remember when that was really nice. Incalculable stupidity. Yeah, that's nice. No, I remember coming.
It's all just for clicks.
We're driving back from
that's it.
Reaction.
Everyone knows that, but people still
bite.
The bite and the interact with it. It's like, just don't.
Well, I was driving back with my dad from Wembley, obviously high as a kite, just absolutely buzzing. And it didn't affect me too much, but we're listening to podcasts, we're listening to music, it's class. But then just in a little break between, we stick on, it was Simon Jordan and Jim White. And then they were like, we've got so-and-so on. A Newcastle fan, he was just like, look out, top 4, we're coming for you. We've done it, and this is just the start. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no. Well, that's not what I want to hear.
Talk Sport wanted us to shift the podcast over there. Platform not long ago, didn't they?
Did they?
Let's talk about that, aye.
Yeah. See you later.
Oh, well, that's
weird. I ignored the message anyway. I didn't even reply. Didn't reply to them. But yeah, they wanted to be a Newcastle contributor, which we dodged. No thanks. No thanks. We're happy here. Anything that stand out else?
I mean, it used to be the whole thing of fan expectations, which seems to have gone quiet a bit. I mean, what Matty said there, notwithstanding, about the people ringing in, I don't think as much there is that kind of Newcastle fans expect this, expect that. Which ironically we kind of now do because we are better than we were.
I was going to say, you seem to forgetting pre-Christmas when certain sections of the fan base, Chris Wallace wanted Eddie Howe.
He's the worst, Chris.
Yeah, but that's it's the media perception side of it. I don't think that doesn't.
Well, that's because certain fans like that Chris Wallace. That make that happen.
The more you say this, it'll stick eventually.
I don't have to make it stick. These people watched you having these conversations.
I don't think there's anything in the media at the minute. I mean, the Isak stuff, it does me head in a little bit. But like I say, it happens at every club, every player. You can't really... I don't have a problem with how Newcastle are conveying the media at the minute, really, except for by Newcastle fans.
Maybe. We don't really hear
I've just thought
the
of
richest club in the world anymore either. We don't hear that.
No, not so much.
I've just thought of a false narrative. It's got a slight bit of truth to it.
Is a early penalty again?
The whole Newcastle fans are forced Bobby Robson out of the club.
I saw that this weekend. It's only ever by red and white. It's you spat at him.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing that.
Yeah.
You forced him out. It's not my recollection.
It was choppy waters though, wasn't it? It was choppy. There's some choppy waters.
Certain the players, if anybody got.
Yeah, well, there's that story about Freddie Shepherd.
Actually came out and admitted that, didn't he?
Well, Freddie Shepherd, I would say reading, but I'm very lazy, so I just listen to audio books instead of reading books. Clyde Tilsley. Clyde Tilsley.
Clyde the gorilla. Clint Eastwood. Orangutan, in fact.
Yeah.
Am I in a dream? Yeah,
it's all right, don't worry about it, Chris.
This is what happens when you've been on like the drink the whole of a bank holiday.
Still think I'm very eloquent.
Talking about every which way but loose.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. Men of a certain age will get that one. Mark.
Clyde Tilsley.
Yes.
He says in his book about how Freddie Shepherd had to pay a photographer to not release a picture that he took in training of a particular player, he doesn't say who, like flipping the V's behind Bobby Robson's back.
Right.
And like saying how, because a full chapter is about Bobby Robson and doing co-commentary with him and how like he was daft and the genius at the same time. Aye. Like, which we've all heard. Yeah. That's why it was so endearing. But he says like, I heard about apparently Freddie Shepherd had to pay this money. And I've always thought like, that either Dyer or Bellamy? Like, I reckon.
Well, but both Dyer and Bellamy have came out and said
so.
that they regret
disrespecting them as much.
I remember the day
stuff
Bobby
like
died.
that.
West Ham had a friendly, I forget who against now. And Dyer was interviewed maybe the day after because he died on a Friday. And they interviewed Dyer after this game. West Ham, you could see he was really kind of cut up about it. Like, I think you hear Kieran Dyer talking now. I think there's quite a bit of regret about how he conducted himself when he was younger.
He made Kieran Dyer Bobby Robson, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. He did well at Ipswich,
well.
but he bought him, and it made Kieran Dyer's pinnacle of his career because of his injuries was playing football under Bobby Robson.
Well, the Champions League team, wasn't it? 2003.
I thought he was good when he was on.
He was brilliant. Yeah. He was really.
And that's
good.
I think he recognises that fact. He knows it.
Knows now.
He talks about that, but then that's why he's got that regret.
I think Bellamy is quite eloquent now. He's quite erudite, and he talks. He's interesting to listen to, but he talks about there's a thing on about players who maybe didn't have the best time or had good times in Newcastle, but aren't that well remembered. Rude Hullet on Sticking to Football. It's really good, but there was a really weird bit where he says about the Shearer thing, the Sunderland game,
where he blatantly lies.
Which bit's that? Is it where he says that Newcastle got relegated
about Shearer and speed and stuff like that?
Don't get me wrong. Actually, I've only listened to half of it. I haven't got the Newcastle yet, so I've just said really good episode and then lied.
There's the one bit I pull him up on where he's wrong. He goes, I was at Newcastle, he says, and they got relegated after I left. So I was right. I was like, we did, but 10 years after you left.
Well, and he also said Alan Shearer was coming to the end of his career when he had him. Yet he played on for another 8 seasons.
Yeah. I mean, Shearer, the thing is, though, at that time when Shearer had that injury, Hullet probably thought, well, he's not what he was. So that might be his perception at the time was that Shearer was coming.
Was that his second big one, or was that the first big one?
Second, I think.
Was it the second one?
Well, he had a big one at Blackburn, didn't he? He had a broken leg at Blackburn.
Yeah, he had 2. Yeah.
So he was quite injury prone. You think about it. He was
when he got injured, it was just
big injuries, wasn't it?
Big injury,
yeah. Because had that one pre-season against Chelsea at Goodison. Or was it against Everton?
When we just sold Ferdinand. What was the day we were selling them, wasn't
Ferdinand, tried to get him back, and Ferdinand goes, now I'm gone, because Ferdinand's a man of honour.
And that's why Shearer is still, that's the one big point I always throw people, and that's why he's the best striker in Premier League history. The numbers he scored, and he had 3 massive injuries.
Yeah. And he had to change how he played.
And he changed how he played. And still scored great
Shearer
goals.
Was quite quick at Blackburn.
And I love the fact that record-breaking goal for Newcastle's in bursting through an own goal as well.
Yeah.
Like a 30-odd-year-old, 34, 5-year-old.
I love how Shola's basically Newcastle's Forrest Gump. Because all of the big goals,
everything, isn't he?
You think
Shola's chest.
Cissé's goal against Chelsea.
Shola's chest.
The one that Shearer broke the record against when Shearer scored the volley against Everton. It's always Shola.
Shola's chest against Demba Ba, not against Demba Ba. Wait, Everton.
It's always a chest.
Yeah.
Animal. Right, I'm going to go through the last 2 questions.
Rude Hullet's a cock anyway.
He comes across really well. Honestly, he comes across really well.
No, I didn't like
he does. I think Rude Hullet. Sorry, Chris. It was Mark.
Next one is from Evermore, NUFC. He talks about who we expect to play the next game. He's saying that you expect or would like to see Gordon and Barnes on the wings.
Left and right. I thought Murphy had a quiet game like at the weekend.
Got in the areas but didn't deliver.
Yeah,
does that warrant
bypassed them quite a bit.
Change though?
I don't think it does. I love Gordon as well. I love Anthony Gordon, but Barnes is playing. It's the best run of performances Barnes has put in since we signed him.
That was do you know what, Bestie, you highlighted it earlier on as well, that Brighton game, as much as we didn't play too well, it felt like the game where it's like Barnes is the big danger. Barnes is the big danger. And it's been his criticism has always been, what does he actually do? Other than score great goals, what does he doesn't look like our big danger. Whereas that game was like the runs he was making and he was getting in behind and he wasn't converting in a proper scoring opportunities, but he felt like our big player out of all of them.
Put that ball through for Wilson towards the end. He actually had a shot on his left foot, which he took.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I want to see him do that more.
Yeah,
I thought it was his best game on the right side.
After going,
normally goes a bit missing after that, doesn't
he? Yeah. Against Ipswich a little bit, he did. He was out of the game by the end of it when Gordon came on. But I love Gordon, but I think it's a funny one because I think Gordon could really damage Chelsea down there left.
Yeah.
They're right, big pardon.
I think if anything changes, I think Murphy will keep his spot and it'll be Barnes out, Gordon in, which I don't want to see right now. But I think, I agree. But I think that's probably the way you look at it. Just because of the link of play that we've seen before between Murphy and Isak.
Well, Murphy's basically Isak's receptionist, and he does everything that. Yeah. Murphy's kind of set up to get the most out of Isak. That's kind of not all he's here to do. but that's his role.
I don't think we will see a change. I'll put it out there. I think it'll be the same starting 11.
And I think that's, again, one of the reasons where I think Isak probably struggled a bit at the weekend was because Brighton were that bit deeper, so we weren't able to get that ball in behind from Murphy, whipping it around the defence into that space for Isak to attack.
I remember one point towards the end of the second half, I think, where they were attacking our goal, we cleared it, and there was just big gap, and then they had 4 defenders, which is there. It was like a 30-40 yard gap between the deepest midfielder and the furthest forward defender, and that was obviously the kind of, because I think mind they've got pace them and damage with it worked.
Yeah.
Final one. This was actually a question for Decker, but this was put in before we went live.
I am Decker now.
And it's from Josh Stockton. Once again, he says, has Decker got his Sam Fender kit yet? So I thought we'd end on this one because the club this week announced that they've done something else with the home shirt. It's another release and another, I don't even know what to do. It's just another print on the shirt. And this one, it's the Sam Fender album cover.
People watch
the image from
it's
the
the one that
played
Sam
in
and
Berlin,
the band wore
in the back on the back of the shirt.
Is that what that is? Is that where that came from? Is it right?
I'll be honest with you. I'm a huge Sam Fender fan. I am getting a little bit tired of the club wheeling them out at any opportunity now. We've already got the Champions shirt with the Champions print on the back. That's also got the Sam Fender stuff on the bottom of it as well.
I haven't really wheeled him out for that, though.
No, but the next one, the one where we just put something on the back of it. Like, I'm just thinking, why?
I agree with you on that. I don't get why we're doing that, other than to potentially sell kits to Sam Fender fans
Well, I've got the
to wear at the 3 gigs,
4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah, capitalising those people who like obviously nick their dad's shirts to go and watch the matches.
90
Get
quid
yourself
though.
one of them. £90.
90 quid.
90
it is.
English
It's more
pounds.
expensive than the Champions
Whoa.
one.
I understand.
Well, it is a bigger transfer.
I understand hearing this week because I shot the advert for the new kit this week. Apparently, I shot bits of it, and I think our Sam's involved in that as well. So it might be the case that we'll see that debuted at the gigs.
I don't know if it was that because did you not get? I think they sent out an email asking for people to because it was being filmed 2 days in the Strawberry last week.
No, a lad
Wednesday, Thursday, I think it was.
Sister was doing the makeup, and it was for the players. So unless it's a massive coincidence that we're shooting 2 things on the same day,
I mustn't have been there then.
Oh, well, it could have been 2 different. It could have been 2 different things. Yeah, because 2 different locations for the same thing. Yeah, that's what it is. But you may be right with what you were saying, from what I've previously heard about announcing stuff.
Sneak you, Chris.
But not from this season. Not from this season. But I'll talk about it afterwards.
Got any at the ground with the kids?
I can't. Yeah, I can't discuss it because it'll get somebody in trouble.
At the club. That's why I'm not going to slag them off too much about the Sam Fender thing. You don't want to sever your
time. I honestly think the Sam Fender thing. I think it's shite. I think it's shite. I think the club are just trying to rinse and just put something else.
You don't have to buy it.
I know, but come on.
What I
just got the DH kit.
There is a whole thing where right now the away kit and the third kit are both 60% off in the club shop and online. The home kit is still full price, and I don't think it's ever been on sale or reduced this season.
I think it was reduced a little bit after
the
Christmas.
home one.
Yeah,
it was just it was a handful of weeks before the final. Then they put it obviously the sales off at that point.
Yeah. But it's probably just the situation where they've had to print a whole, well, not just print, they've had to make a whole load of more kits because we know they sold out of the kits for the cup final winners top. You literally couldn't buy one.
Weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
So has Nickel got his yet?
So I think
he's never mentioned he's got it. Like
they'll have made a shitload of them. Now all of the sales have suddenly dried up again because we've literally got 4 weeks of the season left. Who wants to be paying 80? What was it? 80 quid, 85 quid?
85, I think it is.
For the shirt to wear for a month.
It's weird because they haven't made any more of the pro version, whatever you want to call it, since like Christmas. They sold out before Christmas, I think, and they just. I
don't think we would be selling any of them if it hadn't have been for the fact that we got to the final and then we won it. People are buying them from a commemorative point of view.
Yeah.
And when we won the final,
that was great.
Good.
Remember that?
What I would have liked to have seen, right? And just to go back, right? If they had done some sort of collaboration with Sam Fender in regards to a range, similar to like what we wear, like we're recording things similar to this, where there's a full range goes out with a bit of a throat between both Sam Fenn and Newcastle United, then yes.
What would you have on it?
I don't know. Well, that's up to a design team
guitar?
to do.
Well,
there's been no design put into that. So that's how I'm going to put it on the back of the shirt.
I think Sam
But
did
that's
sell a
because
version of
that's what him and the band got printed on the back of the shirts.
Sam did sell a version of the old 95, 96 training top, didn't he? In his gigs, I think, last year. That's someone for
was a
us.
gig.
Was that
Yeah,
where
it
the
was
brown
a
ale says
retro
Sam
one.
Fenn or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Which honestly, like stuff like that, I'm all for. I just think I don't know. I'm not in full
It's
agreement.
100% a money making opportunity, isn't it? That's what they're doing.
Well, I mean, that's what any merchandise is, really.
Yeah.
And that's the king.
And that's it. Yes, I get that it. Like what they released more merchandise this week, like more training gear and what lifestyle range or something like that and stuff like that.
Urban Purist.
It is just to
Is that actually for sale now?
to get.
Well, we're in it before the game.
Some stuff got released this week, yeah.
Yeah, but did it definitely get released?
I don't know if it was meant to.
Because they released it a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Because
Dasmo ended it with it early, didn't he?
Well, yeah,
Dasmo
we kind of done something we shouldn't have done, to be fair. But yeah, we got a lot of them kits, shirts like last week, wasn't it? It was last week. Everybody got those delivered.
I'm not keen on it, mate.
I'm not big.
I like
I like that
shorts. I like the
t-shirt,
shorts.
mate. It reminds me of some stuff that Shearer used to wear.
It's that across the chest.
It's the one that we were
That
talking about
we were talking about
last
last week. Yeah, I don't care about that. It feels like it just you be able to
But
feel
that's it. This forever. I mean, they brought out a whole summer range of stuff.
Yeah.
And when you go to the club shop, they've got a whole it's not Adidas gear. It's
It's a Shan
club
club stuff.
stuff.
It's
that
Shan.
they're doing,
You've seen
but-
it. It's absolute market stuff.
Some of it's all right,
I don't
but
mind
some of it's.
Oh,
probably a
no.
drill top.
I'm not sure on
shocking.
the programs gear and stuff
That's
like
quite
that.
nice.
That
This
they brought
program,
out.
I think Nickel got one of them, didn't
Some
he?
of them are a bit.
Nickel gets everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But
What
that's
does he do?
there's
His
a
job.
feel good
Launders
factor
money.
around the club at the minute. People are wanting to wear you've got like over the last few years, you struggled on non-match days around town and people like in the Metro Centre, people to see people wearing kits or to wear any merchandise and stuff like that. Now it's like the 90s again because everybody's wearing it everywhere.
Yeah.
So
regardless of how good it is, in a lot of instances, I like that. I fancy one of those hoodies that you've got on now, Mark, but I didn't manage to get one. I really fancy the hoodie version of that as well, but I don't seem to be able to get my hands on one of those either. But pause. No, more biting. But a lot of it, like this new one, I don't get it. I don't care for it at all, really.
But then all you do is just not buy it.
Oh yeah.
So then I don't get why people get so angry about it. You're not going to buy it, so it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend 90 quid on that top.
Well, we're not
I'm
going
allowed
to
an
be side
opinion,
of right winger.
Yes, it's the principle of
I'm
it.
allowed an
of that
opinion on it.
You think
I don't mind.
you potentially rinsing fans. But you're not rinsing them if they don't buy it.
One thing I will quite enjoy seeing it when more stuff comes out again next season, just because at the minute everyone's wearing that stuff. And
It's lovely though.
It's lush, and I want to be able to wear mine without looking the same as everybody else.
Yeah. That's why I
So,
still very, very rarely wear mine because
Yeah.
I know somebody else is going to have it.
I'm
Have
glad
it
I
on?
bought this jacket when I did though, because then these boys are.
I do like that.
They're
jacket,
always
yeah.
getting. They're
It's
getting.
lush, that jacket,
They're
like,
getting. I've seen people wearing them. Don't get me wrong, but like, can't get them in different
Yeah.
our sizes. You know?
The last
Any
home
smalls.
game, there was 4 lads together and they were all wearing the full tracksuit, all 4 of them.
full
Wouldn't that be
tracksuit.
cool that in 20 years time when we suddenly become a powerhouse in world football that like they do like parodies on shows of us and we're all wearing these
Shell
tracksuits.
suits.
Yeah.
like
the same on,
like
like,
Scouts
Vic
on
and-
Harry Enfield or something.
Vic and Bob, they always used to have the 95,
Yeah.
97.
I love that one when he's in there, Antarctica.
Antarctica,
It's
yeah.
the 1992. or something.
Those days are coming back though.
Hope so.
I'm going to end it there. Thanks everybody who has been tuning in live with us. Like the video, become a subscriber if you're not already. It is $2.99 a month. Become a member. You get extra content. You get early access to content as well, and access to the Telegram group.
Links to merchandise that hasn't yet been released.
they didn't get the link. No. But yeah, we tend to do quite well with releases with shirts and stuff like that. So become a member. That might help out in the future too. But yeah, what you guys doing? See you later. Ta-ra.